One of the topics I think a lot of people are very interested in with these peptides are women and, as they age, that menopause, that slowing down that, women go through as they age.
Yeah.
The lack of energy and then the hormone discombobulation.
Yeah.
How do you feel that has played a role, that the peptides have played a role in that?
Well, first of all, it was rough. I didn't know what to expect. My mom had a hysterectomy very young. So I really wasn't prepared for what was going to happen to my body. And I am very high energy, or always have been. My grandmother, who lived to be 104.75.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
That's
she
impressive.
very much so. She was an Energizer bunny, and everybody kind of called me Little Lottie. That was her name, because I seemed to have that same energy flow. So I assumed I would have it forever.
Yeah.
But something happened when I went through menopause, perimenopause, and then COVID hit me at the same time. Man, it was tough. I went from running a 5K to a month later, barely had the ability to go around the neighborhood twice without incredible DOMS or delayed onset of muscle fatigue 2 days later. It was huge. And I tried everything trying to get a solution. First of all, I was in shock and even some depression. Like how...
I was going to ask you that. How did that affect you mentally?
Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible because backtrack 5 years before that, I was teaching like 11 classes a week. I was a fitness specialist for MWR, which is a contract subsidiary for the military.
Okay.
So I taught active duty, I taught dependents, I taught retirees, I taught kids, I taught stroller warriors, which is a moms and little ones, but this was all military affiliated. And I had nicknames of like drill sergeant. I had a lot of energy.
Because you're always ready to go.
I was.
That's awesome.
I was. And then I didn't even know who I was anymore. It definitely did something to my emotional health. So I tried so many things. I went to multiple doctors. I tried physical therapists, multiples. I went to massage therapists thinking that would help with all of the inflammation and the pain and the low energy, thinking what in the world is wrong?
What's going on in my body?
My body's broken.
Right.
And then somebody talked about these natural peptides. Actually, it was my friend who I ended up signing up to do this with. And I didn't believe her at first.
I didn't either when I first got into this, but it was...
Did you roll your eyes? I totally rolled my eyes.
I did, but I was, and I guess, it sounds like you, like I was so desperate to find a solution for what I was going through that like I was like willing to try anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess, and that's what got me to that point. Because I had gone to school in college for dietetics and nutrition. And everything I learned back in the late 80s, early 90s was you can't target visceral fat. It's impossible. And you can't lose weight without losing muscle.
Right.
It just went hand in hand. So when they were saying things like that, that's when the eye rolling came in. Because I'm like, that goes against everything I was taught.
Everything we're taught.
But the thing is, I hadn't stayed current with that information. I abandoned that and moved into the fitness realm because I didn't like the hospital setting. It was depressing for me. So
yeah.
I didn't stay current. So it took some investigating and a lot of questions before I agreed I'm willing to try this, and some desperation.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, oral peptides and everything we know says no, says it doesn't work, says it's not something that's possible.
Yeah.
And a year ago, I would have believed that. But after I dived into the science and really looked at just what they've been able to do with the help of AI.
Yeah.
And I think that's the missing piece people aren't understanding is how the use of AI in identifying these peptides in nature is what really jumped us this massive leap of being able to bring oral peptides that survive the gut into the bloodstream and send these signals that wake our cells up and really start getting those signals going again.
Absolutely.
And I think that's played a big role in your energy returning and my ADHD being more manageable without the pharmaceuticals, which is something I wanted to get away from.
Yes, and the side effects. The side effects are crazy. Yeah.
That was exactly it for me too, was the side effects. I had to get away. It was just doing too much damage to me, to my family. And once I was able to get away, what a difference. What a difference.
It's really amazing because it's this blending of nature and what was already there and technology that has brought this to the forefront and even made it possible.
Exactly.
So if it weren't for that melding, we wouldn't be where we are today. I mean, thousands and thousands of years forward. I mean, I don't think people realize, I didn't realize how much of a jump forward technology has created with this. I mean, that's why we're here.
Exactly.
And it took both of those components to make this a possibility. I mean, the idea that something would survive the GI tract and those gastric juices, the acids, it was
not possible.
Exactly. And until now.
Exactly.
And I feel like that's one of the biggest challenges, kind of getting into that, Mark, maybe you feel the same way, is educating people on the fact that this is now available.
And it's because it's something so new and something so thought to be impossible.
Yes.
That I think it creates a lot of skepticism and rightfully so. You know, I mean, I think as humans, we should always be very mindful of what we're putting in our bodies. And that was one of the reasons I was so turned off by synthetics, because a lot of them, and not all of them, but a lot of them come with some sort of side effect.
100%.
And so to have something that's nature made, that doesn't come with side effects, that is almost like it's like a subtle hit or a subtle dosing of health and wellness, if that makes sense. It's like a subtle nudge towards making your metabolism better, towards just being healthier overall.
Yeah.
And I think it's such an amazing breakthrough in the health and wellness scene. And I'm here for it. And I think that it's our job to spread that, to show people that there is an option outside of synthetics and outside of pharmaceuticals, outside of all of those things that come with unwanted side effects.
And the facts are that the synthetics weren't doing anything for me. I mean, I feel like after that terrible time, going through the menopause and the COVID, they got me so far, but they didn't get me to the finish line because my body was not working optimally. I mean, let's think about this. Our bodies are designed to die, basically. We are not going to live forever. It's the way God designed us. Exactly. So we are slowing down. We are naturally set up for atrophy, which is why physical activity is so important, and resistance exercise, because we're trying to maintain what muscle tissue we have so that we can live the most productive and functional lives up until the very end. I mean, genetically, I've got it in me, I believe, to follow my grandmother's footsteps.
Yep.
I don't want to be that 90-year-old that can't move, that's stuck in a wheelchair waiting to die. I want to be fully engaged and active in this life and do the things that God's asked me to do. Absolutely.
Exactly.
I'm here for a purpose. Let's live it out.
Exactly. Because what is life if it's confined to a wheelchair, if it's confined to a bed? And I get there's accidents, there's things, there's
absolutely
all sorts of reasons that could confine people. And I get that. But some of it we can help.
Yes.
And I think that's the key. People don't realize the importance of the quality of the food they put in their body and how it directly correlates their future.
Absolutely.
How it lays their foundation of health and wellness out for how they're going to be. Are they going to be disabled, slow to get around? Are they going to be active? Are they going to be, thriving, chasing their grandkids around and just, being able to enjoy their later years in life?
I think in America, and probably true in many parts of the world, we have a denial complex. We live for the moment.
100%.
And we don't think about the consequences.
I never thought of it like that.
We think about other people, but no, that wouldn't happen to me. And it's not until we're in that position that we have those feelings of regret and realize all the bad choices we made up to that point. And I think what really hit that home for me is, first of all, being in that hospital setting. When I went to college, like I said, and for dietetics nutrition, and I was doing volunteer hours, and I saw different ages of people who'd made different lifestyle choices and where it got them. And then reinforcing that. Okay, so funny little side note is that I do teach these high energy classes, or I have most of my life, but I also teach at an assisted living facility.
Okay.
And what I notice is you can see decades of difference in the people that I am teaching. And not that all of it is controllable, just like we just talked about,
right.
But some of it is directly due to their choices as younger people. What they ate, how they moved, how they hydrated, how they handled stress, how they slept.
Amen.
And you can see a 70-year-old who's functioning like a 100-year-old, or you can see a 70-year-old who's functioning like a 50-year-old, all dependent on what they did prior to that date.
Exactly. I look at a lot of people, and I know, RFK is not everyone's cup of tea, but I look at him, a 70-year-old who's, over here he can do 20 pull-ups. And I look at, people my age who can't even do 3.
Yeah.
And I think that makes such a difference in how you age, having that muscle. I know it's not really a matter of opinion. It's a fact. The more lean muscle you have, the better you age.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the key to longevity. And I think that's what makes fit so amazing in its ability to promote that growth. What
it's
is it?
Pivotal.
4x your protein synthesis.
Yeah.
So it literally makes how much protein your body is able to use at one time for growth quadruple. Yep. And
it's pretty impressive.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that helps with so many things. It helps with the recovery, it helps with strength, it helps with just reducing muscle fatigue, and the overall reduction of inflammation it brings as well is
huge.
It makes such a difference, I think, in aging effectively. And that's just, I want to share that I want people to know that this is something you can take every day that will help you age just more effectively, more efficiently, and you can feel better while you do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I love all those side effects or results rather from FIT.
Yeah.
Anti-inflammatory is what I needed the most because that was a direct link to the pain that I was experiencing.
Me too.
But absolutely, I mean, having that muscle tissue, first of all, I'm a slight build, so I need to really focus on holding on to what I have, right? And continuing to build as I age. But it also affects my brain and how I think. And it affects my emotions. It affects my bone density. I mean, it affects so many things that are occurring, even on a very basic biochemical level. I mean, you can take it all the way from cellular to big picture. It's vital.
And people don't realize, they don't realize the link in muscle to endocrine regulation.
Yes.
It regulates, it's the biggest endocrine regulator in your entire body.
Yes.
And it regulates so much that's going on. And, as we age, we lose muscle. It's just a known fact.
Yeah. And every decade after 30. Yeah.
Exactly. And so if we can keep it, if we can help hold on to it, if we can keep it growing at later ages, I mean, we're just leading ourselves into a stronger, healthier later years where we can thrive more instead of not like a lot of people are doing these days, unfortunately.
Absolutely. And I think too, we have a spiritual responsibility to take care of our bodies.
Amen.
Because I personally believe we were here for a purpose. I mean, I was put here in this time, in this period of history for a purpose. And if I don't take care of the body that I've been given, I'm not going to be able to carry that purpose out. I mean, 100%. This is the vessel I move in. And I want to show up for my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids.
Yeah.
And if I'm not taking care of myself, I'm no longer adding to them, but I could actually be a burden because I can't self-sustain. Yeah. I want to be independent. I want to be giving. I want to be contributing. And I feel like that starts with my personal decision to take care of me.
And it also sets an example. I think it's super important for us to set that example.
Amen.
For our children and for the people that come, for our children's children, so that they understand that, hey, look, oh my gosh, my mom, my grandmother took care of themselves, and look at them. My grandma's 87 years old, and she's still out here, swinging the baseball bat and throwing the ball with me. How many other people can say that about their grandparents?
Absolutely.
And I just think that's something that, obviously when we're younger, we don't think of that. And
right.
I think it's why it's so important for us to lead the way and provide that education.
100%.
Because I want that for my family. I want that for everybody personally. I mean, I think living a better life that isn't controlled by how we feel.
Yeah.
Because we didn't make the choice to take care of ourselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's consequences to every action. And I think that's a great way to show that to our kids. And
exactly.
That principle applies to everything we do, including our health.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I think about when my kids were little, having the background in dietetics nutrition, I introduced them to vegetables and fruits very young, right? And they pretty much, whole grains was what they knew before they knew white bread.
Yeah.
And I remember having some other friends who didn't do that, and they were like, well, my kids won't eat that. And I was like, well, did you introduce them to that? And they're like, well, they wouldn't like it. And I feel like, again, that's a parental responsibility. If I eat this and expect them to eat that, that disconnect, they are paying attention to what we're doing, not what we're saying.
Exactly.
But when they saw me making that healthy food and then providing it to them, there was no question that they were going to try it.
Exactly.
And to this day, my children now are open-minded about trying new things. And they do eat vegetables and they do eat whole grains. And it's not a foreign concept.
Exactly. You know, actually, it's funny because my 4-year-old, her favorite thing to eat is fruit.
Love it.
She tears up blueberries. Her favorite thing is blackberries. We'll get those big cartons.
Yeah.
And she will literally go through a half carton in one sitting. Like she just loves fruit. And it's
awesome.
crazy because this child, I mean, when I tell you, she is like in the equivalent of like a shredded bodybuilder. I mean, she is shredded. Just, you can see every little ab muscle. And she eats, but she just eats good food.
Yes.
She eats unprocessed whole foods. And
yes.
You're
getting my wheelhouse. I'm so passionate about this. Yeah.
Some people literally think I'm a bit much. I know they're like, oh, you control what they eat too much and you do this. And I'm like, look, I let them make that decision when they're out with a friend. If they want to eat some of that food,
sure,
that's fine.
Sure.
But they also understand what it does to their body because I teach them that. And when they're at home, they know they eat good food.
Yeah.
And they know that they feel better because of it. And as long as they're learning that and they're teaching that, I don't really care how people think about me.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think it's so essential too for a growing body because there's so many nutrients
exactly
that they are missing when they eat a typical American diet or fast food. Yeah. I mean, they're basically, they are starving their body. They're getting excess calories, but they're starving their body of nutrients. So teaching your child to eat nutrient dense is such a gift.
It's so important.
And I think too, what's really shocked me because people are surprised. They're like, you eat a lot. And it's not really about how much you eat, it's about what you eat, just like what you touched on.
Yeah.
I eat a lot of food. I am not into starvation.
Yeah.
I enjoy food. I eat 3 square meals a day and snacks. It's really about the choices of what you're putting in your body.
And your activity level too.
Oh, 100%.
If
100%.
you are active and you're moving, like you can eat more calories. You can
Absolutely.
eat more. And as long as it's, again, good quality stuff, you're fine.
Oh, absolutely.
Enjoy life a little bit,
Yeah, and exactly. And I think so many people go on this starvation mindset. And that's the worst thing you can do because that literally hijacks your metabolism.
Exactly.
So you're much better to eat more frequently, larger portions of the right things than you are to say, oh, I'm not going to eat ever.
And starve yourself.
Exactly. Because your body's smart. It knows that.
Very much so.
It goes into preservation mode. Oh, we're getting ready for a famine. I'm going to shut things down and slow it down.
Yep.
We can't... It's smarter than we give it credit for.
Exactly. Before peptides, what was a real health struggle that you were dealing with that maybe people don't see?
Okay, so this is a very vulnerable question for me, but I'm going to be straight with you. I was faking my energy in the afternoons. As a fitness instructor, I think of it as almost a theatrical thing. You're going there to be entertained, motivated, in a fun environment, to exercise and move your body. So in the mornings, I had no problem doing what I always did. But in the afternoons, I didn't have anything to give. So I knew that if I showed up in a attitude of I need to lay on the sofa and have a clicker, that was going to motivate 0 people.
Right.
So I would then go get a double coffee to jack me up so that I could go teach a 5 or a 4 or a 5:30 class.
Okay.
Now, would I admit that? No, because I wanted to come in high energy.
Exactly.
I had to. It was part of my job.
But what was the consequence of that for you?
Oh my God, the crashes.
Afterwards, I was
the crashes. It messed up my sleep, number one. And then number 2, I have an autoimmune issue. I have fibromyalgia, and I've been tested numerous times for lupus, but it never comes back. In my family, there are 2 relatives with lupus. I have one with ANA issues.
My dad actually has it too.
Okay, so all the things. So what happens with that is you go and you go and you go, and then you crash.
Yeah.
It's like in the bed for 48 hours before you can pick back up and go. So what that did to me, it reintroduced that problem that I hadn't dealt with for decades. So I was now crashing on the weekends. And this has caused a problem because we were canceling last minute social obligations. My husband is a few years older than me, and one of the things he loved about me was my high energy.
Yeah.
I was crashed on the sofa all weekend. I was doing the bare minimum. I can't tell you how many nights that I said, we're gonna have to get something to go for eating.
Yeah.
Because I don't even have the energy to get up and go make dinner. But I had to keep up the facade. So a lot of people don't know that. And I guess they do now.
Yeah.
But before the peptides, I was surviving on caffeine to get me there. And it was bad.
I can totally relate to that.
Really, I want to hear.
I do a very physical job. And so during the week, it's just go, 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 go. And the weekends come and we might have plans, a cousin's birthday party or going and doing this or going and doing that, something with the family. And I would never show up. It was very rare that I was there because I just needed the weekend.
You're exhausted.
I needed the weekend. I was so drained. I didn't want to do anything. And I look back now and I can tell you it's something that really messes me up because I missed out on a lot.
Yeah.
I missed out on a lot of things with my family. I would choose to stay home when they would go to the beach for a weekend because to me, paying for them to go with their grandparents or, even if they just went and the grandparents paid, it meant that I could just stay at home and be lazy.
Yeah.
I could stay at home and do nothing. I didn't have to carry beach stuff up and down from the beach. I didn't have to, jump through all the hoops that, basically were part of going to the beach. I could just sit at home and rot. And that's because that's what I thought I needed. I thought I needed all that rest and recovery to deal with the next week of
So you could do it
stuff.
again on Monday. Yes.
Exactly.
So relatable.
And
yes.
I was just I felt alone, if that makes sense.
I do.
It's like
it's depressing. It is depressing.
It is, and we get caught in these loops of life where we just keep pushing through, and instead of looking for answers, we just deal with it.
Yep.
And before we know it, instead of just having a body that's broken down, we have a spirit that's crushed, and
Absolutely.
then we're just so depressed.
Yeah.
We're just so caught in this cycle, and I think that's one of the biggest things that, especially Energized, has really, really, really made a difference in my life because not only do you get that pickup from an energy drink like you'd get from an energy drink, but it's a natural way that supports your adrenal system. It's not slamming you with caffeine, slamming you with the mass loads of taurine and all these other, sugar to really get you going. But it gives you a peptide, a signal that actually tells your body to increase your serotonin and dopamine.
Which I love.
It's amazing because not only does it give you this kind of mood boost, make you feel a little bit lighter, some experience a little bit of kind of all right, I'm good, I feel good type of feeling,
Yeah.
But then what it does that people don't know is that when your body is stressed, your energy level gets depleted faster.
Absolutely.
And so when you get that serotonin and dopamine boost, it actually directly affects your body's energy and how it drains during stressful times. So you become a little bit more efficient at how you burn energy during stress.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about Energize. And I feel like it's made such a big impact in me not needing the weekends to recover anymore. And I just think, again, something I just want to share. I want people to know that there's an option.
Because you feel like you've checked out. I felt like I checked out on the weekends. And I can relate because there were many trips that we went back typically to go see his parents or his family in another state. And on some of those trips, I was like, honey, you're going to have to go without me. Tell everybody I said hello, but I'm going to stay here and just recoup.
Yeah.
And I missed out on life. And I knew I was missing out, but I didn't think I had any other options.
And that's exactly it. You feel so drained.
It was exhausting.
Yeah.
It was all the time. No, I didn't realize that about you. So yeah, I definitely can relate. We were in the same place.
Yeah.
And it's not who I wanted to be.
Not at all.
So it feels good to be fully present again and be able to engage in life, because there's
Amen.
a lot of awesome going on in my life, but I miss it if I'm not able to bring the energy to be there.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, fit is wonderful for me. I absolutely love it. The inflammation that we talked about, also the steady energy. So I am not...
That ATP energy.
Yes, I was known by name at one of the coffee shops. We won't need to go into that, but because I was in there so frequently, and I go back on occasion. They're like, "How have you been? Where have you been?" And I thought, this is pretty sad. This is how frequently I have visited for my survival coffee.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, Fit's been a great replacement.
Awesome.
It's feeling good and steady energy.
Heck yeah.
Okay, Mark, so I have a question for you, and I think this is common for a lot of parents, but why do you think that parents, young, middle-aged parents, assume that being tired all the time is just the norm?
Wow. So I think it's a mixture of things, honestly. I think it's something that we're just kind of taught. I think you see so many other parents like that, you just associate it with age. Like, oh, I'm getting older, that's just it. Mm-hmm. I think what people miss is the food. I think a lot of that comes directly back to the food we put in our bodies every single day. And people don't realize that there's so many additives in our food nowadays that cause inflammation. Mm-hmm. And if you know anything about inflammation, the more inflammation in our bodies, the more our bodies slow down. Mm-hmm. And when they're constantly inflamed, they can't recover. That constant inflammation causes stress, causes oxidative stress on our cells. And so when you can finally get that inflammation gone with something like Fit, mm-hmm. your body starts to heal. When it starts to heal, energy can start coming back. When that inflammation leaves, the energy starts producing again, and you start feeling better because of it. And I think people don't realize that once you adjust all those foods out of your diet that cause that inflammation, mm-hmm. the energy will come back.
Yeah.
And I also think that there's a big misconception about coffee as well. I don't think that coffee's necessarily the enemy, mm-hmm. but I think it's the frequency of coffee, the portion of coffee.
Yes.
Hammering your body with 300 milligrams of caffeine is just spiking your adrenals, stressing your adrenals. And what happens when you do that? Your body produces cortisol.
Yeah.
What happens when you have cortisol? It's a stress hormone. It puts stress on your body. It slows things down. Energy. Where's your energy go? And I think that all of that together just keeps people in this state of exhaustion, and they don't understand it. And I think once they finally step back and start learning a little bit more of the body, that they can really get the answer to how to start producing the energy again and just feeling good.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think a lot of people get stuck in the cycle of, I don't have energy, so I use these things to give me energy, and then I don't have energy, and they don't know how to get out of it.
Exactly.
And a lot of the coffee thing too is, you're right, when the double coffees I told you about, what else was going into that? Tons of sugar, mm-hmm. tons of creamers, all the things that were causing inflammation in my body. And I think of inflammation as a blocker. It's kind of like a roadblock on your energy path. It's like, you're gonna have to find another way. And sometimes there isn't another way, because that inflammation is so built up and so blocking the path that you stay stuck there.
100%.
And so then you're back in that reliant cycle of just getting through. And then your sleep is affected. It's this whole cycle. And then your fat burning is affected. Your brain fog is there. And then you can't make those rational decisions, because your body is so off in left field that you are needing a big time intervention. And this is what these products have done for me.
Oh, look, 100%. So a little bit about me. I was a manager at Starbucks for 6 years.
Were you really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And
okay.
I love coffee. I actually have a coffee master certification with Starbucks. Okay?
Wow. Okay.
So like regional coffees, what they're from, what their taste. I love coffee, and I was obsessed with it for so many years.
Yeah.
There was a point when I was at Starbucks where I could drink like 12 to 16 shots of espresso a day.
No.
To like get me through the day. Okay, like
your poor adrenal glands.
I would say I don't even want to know how much caffeine that is. I don't even want to add up the milligrams because it's scary to me to think about that now.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I love coffee.
Yeah.
I love the smell. I love the taste. I do. That smell of coffee in the morning to me is just so, the aroma just wakes me up. I love it. But once I started taking Energized, like I didn't mean to quit coffee. I had no intention in stopping drinking coffee.
Wow.
But it just got to the point where after having Energized and then, taking the Calm before bed, getting better quality sleep, and, all of my cells started talking again and communicating again. Before I knew it, I didn't do coffee anymore.
Wow.
And
I didn't know this about you.
Yeah, and you know what else me and my wife both put together, because she accidentally gave up coffee too after about 6 months on the peptides.
Wow.
The direct correlation to coffee consumption and anxiety. Wow. She is a chronic anxiety. She has her whole life. It's been something she's dealt with.
Some people do. It's a biochemical thing.
And she told me that she was absolutely blown away by how much better her anxiety was once she gave up coffee. She's like, I still get it every now and then. Certain situations will trigger it. She said, but my day-to-day, that tightness in your chest, that anxious feeling, she's like, I barely get it anymore. And I was like, you know what? Me too. My anxiety's down.
Yeah.
Because you drink that coffee, that it hits you, and it does. It shocks your adrenals. You feel it. You feel that shakiness, that tension, that energy and everything. And it feels good to a certain extent, but then you get that anxious feeling afterwards. And it really blew my mind, that connection, once I figured it out, just how much better I felt on a day-to-day basis.
That's interesting. Very interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You know what I don't miss? The eye twitching. I don't have that. You know what I'm talking about?
I used to have it too, the top of this eyelid.
Yes. In the muscle twitching, I don't ever have that.
Well, it's because the caffeine's a different.
Exactly.
It's a different beast. So it's from the green part of the coffee fruit, and so it doesn't act the same way as the coffee bean.
It's body friendly and it's slow release, which I love because it's this steady thing versus this crazy cycle of up and down.
Exactly.
But I wondered if you had experienced that too, the twitching, the muscle twitching. Yeah, and I'm like, I don't have that anymore.
I used to get it in random muscles too. I would get random twitches, and I didn't know what it was. Well, turns out not only is it that, but it was also dehydration.
Oh, yeah.
Which, kind of directly leads into, I think, something else we've wanted to talk about, and that's my ADHD medicine.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that. So I was taking 50 milligrams of Vyvanse in the morning, and then sometime around the afternoon, 3 to 5 o'clock, probably closer to 5, I would take a 10 milligram of Adderall to get me through the evening, because I would crash around 3 to 5 from the Vyvanse.
Yeah.
And I'd get home and I would be in a bad mood. I was cranky, because you come off of it.
100%.
And so that's what I had to do. Well, it actually causes because it's a stimulant, it actually dehydrates your body.
Very interesting. You were sharing that with me because I was on that as well, and I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because I'd never looked at it.
And so that's when I learned that muscle twitching is a potential side effect of those stimulant-based, ADHD drugs.
Interesting.
And so once I put that all together and I started taking those out and I started supplementing with I actually started with some, what was it? Baja Gold mineral sea salt. I started supplementing with that at first. But then once I started these peptides, I started using hydrated because it has some some slightly higher quality ingredients. And then it also has glycine, which plays a huge role in how that hydration gets into those cells. And it just kind of helps everything get in and stay in at a much better rate.
Yeah.
And so once I learned the importance of that hydration, it made such a huge difference.
Very interesting, because and shame on me for this, but I also have ADHD, and let's backtrack to 2012. I went back to school again, and I had children, and it was just crazy, and all the noises and the TV, and oh yeah. So I know it's like I'm part crazy. But
I was going to say, are you crazy or?
Yeah, maybe a little bit of that too. And so I went. ADHD was officially diagnosed. I'd known I'd already had it, but I didn't really go the trouble. Same. But I needed it to get through the studying, because when I went to school the first time as a youngster, I would stay up till the middle of the night to study, because every noise, I was an RA. So I had 60 girls I was responsible for. Yeah. Every pin that would drop, every door that would open, every drama phone call with the boyfriend breakup, the showers, whatever. I couldn't study until everybody was quiet. So here I am at 2 to 4 or 5 a.m. studying for my hard, I took hard classes.
When you should be sleeping.
Exactly. So what did that do? By the end of the semester, I was sick because I wore myself down. But back to this. So I went on the Adderall when I went back to school a few years ago, 10 years ago, whatever it was. And I guess it was longer than that. And the doctor said, oh, this will help. I didn't even question it. Did I look at the side effects? Did I look at anything? I just said, the doctor said it, so I'll do it.
Me too.
And I didn't even question it. Shame on me. That's my responsibility, but I didn't do it. And I noticed after several years, I'm like, I feel like my memory is not really as good as it used to be. And both my children have ADHD. They're grown adults, very, successful young men, very bright young men. That is a misconception that people with ADHD are not bright. They're incredibly bright.
It's quite the opposite usually.
It is the opposite. IQ tests, yes.
Yeah, we get very underwhelmed by mundane tasks, and it makes us hard to focus.
Exactly, 100%. Yes, we could talk more on that. Yeah, 100%. But my younger one, who was going to school at the time for botany and biology and some other science things related, both of them are very high-end STEM learners, told me, Mom, you know what? You really need to look at that Adderall, because he was on it too. He said, there's some memory components to that, like you're losing memory. And I hadn't shared with him that I had noticed that. And I looked at the research he sent me, and sure enough, so I made a decision then, I got to start weaning off of this. So I tried to go to this pattern of only when I had a really intense day would I use it. But it wasn't until I got into Make Wellness and I learned about focus that I thought, oh my God, there might be something that actually could replace that.
Focus.
And I have not been on my ADHD medication now for about 6 months, and I don't miss it. Focus has fit the bill.
It does. It helps you
manage. It gets it done.
It does.
And I'm not noticing the side effects. Now, I still personally believe I've got some lingering issues with that memory that probably, cannot be undone. But I do know that this day moving forward, I'm not creating a bigger issue with that.
Yeah.
So I'm protecting what I have.
Exactly.
And so I'm a big fan of the focus, and I energize with that. Spot on.
Together, they just...
Spot on.
Again, going back to that serotonin and dopamine.
Yes.
That helps our brain. One thing people don't really know about ADHD, and one of the symptoms that a lot of us deal with is spontaneity, is like
100%.
Impulsive things we do. Go in the pantry and devour something we know we shouldn't, because our brain just needs a dopamine hit. We need something because we're just so understimulated. Yeah.
You can see it on PET scans when you light up the brain. Yeah, yes, it's a true thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And when you put those two together, that impulsiveness in my brain is so much easier to control.
Yeah.
I can tell myself, you don't need that, Mark. No, stop. That's just your brain thinking it needs something. And that, to me, the way that Energized and Focused have helped me manage my ADHD symptoms. Yeah. Because we can't say that it's curing us, because it's not curing us, but
it's a biochemical difference.
Exactly. It's helping me deal with it and manage it without having to use a substance that gives me unwanted side effects.
Exactly.
And that's really what it is. And I just love it. And that's actually what got me into Make Wellness was I had been off of my ADHD meds for, I don't know, probably a year and a half.
Okay, wow.
maybe
You
2
went cold
years.
turkey.
I did. I went
tough.
cold turkey. I didn't wean. I said, you know what? I'm done with this stuff.
Yeah.
I did it on a Friday.
That's
Saturday
tough.
morning, I was shaking. I was vomiting.
I believe it.
I had no idea
Yep.
I would, what's the word I'm looking for?
Withdraw.
Withdraw.
Yep.
Thank you. So hard like that.
Yep.
And it's funny because, I knew that it was like, 2 molecules off of methamphetamine. Like,
Yeah.
I knew that, but I'm just like, it's not that much of a dose. It's not that, my body's not that reliant on it. Was I wrong?
100%. Yeah.
And it's because it was honestly, like I had touched on earlier, I was coming home and I was in a bad mood. I was to a point where...
Well, you're going through a legit withdrawal.
Right. Every single day I was crashing on it. And I was angry. I was snapping at my kids, and it wasn't who I wanted to be. And so I had gotten off of it for about a year and a half, and I was fighting. I was fighting through life. I was. Every day sucked.
Yeah.
I
can only imagine going cold turkey.
And just like, do I really have to get up and do this again? Like, I didn't have anything. I really, legit, I was just done.
Yeah.
And that's when I'd seen my friend Christina talking about these peptides. And that was some of the desperation I was talking about earlier, was like, I just need something.
Yeah.
Everything I know about peptides is nonsense. Oral peptides says that they can't work, that it's nonsense, like it's not gonna work. But I needed something. I needed to try something.
Yeah.
So I did a little research on the company, and I looked at how they used AI to find these things, and I was like, well, hey, maybe technology's finally caught up.
Yeah.
So I took the dive and I got these things, and man, I'll tell you, from that first dose, and I don't know, maybe you experienced this too, from the first dose of focus, I took it and I walked outside, and it was like everything seemed
more vivid.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the things they say, that it increases your eye to brain connectivity.
Yes. Yes.
And I was like, holy cow, this is cool. Like, I feel like I'm transposing the world to my brain faster.
Yes.
And it was so cool, that feeling. And I just remember that. And I don't ever feel that anymore. I feel like it's just like a permanent upgrade that I've gotten because I take it every day.
Yeah.
But I do. I feel so much clearer in how I analyze things around me.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I think what these things have given me is the ability to be the dad and the husband that I've wanted to be.
Yeah.
I'm not coming home angry anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not coming home completely wiped. And that's also to do with FIT, because FIT really gives me that recovery from my physical job. But not coming off of those ADHD drugs every day it's completely changed my entire life. And that's why I do this every day, honestly. I just want people to know that there's an option to having energy that doesn't come with a cost.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Other than a monetary cost. But to me, what is your health worth? You either take care of your body now, you maybe spend a little bit to supplement and take care of your body now, or you're gonna pay for it later.
Oh, 100%.
And a lot of times you don't have the money to pay for it later. Mm-hmm. You don't have the money or the time to make up for the damage you've done to your body earlier in life.
Exactly. Sometimes you don't get redo opportunities.
Exactly.
You've got consequences that you cannot change.
Exactly.
And I think too about the cost, because I'll be honest, I thought the cost was a lot at the beginning too. But then I realized all the other things that I spend money on. And for instance, I was looking at our Hydrated in particular, and I went to the store and I was comparing it to some other very popular brands. And I can't tell you how many people go through a gas station and grab whatever product it is. And Energize would be the same.
Right.
And they spend way more per serving on what ours is, but they don't do the math. It's their daily or it's their every other day routine, but they don't do the math and realize they're actually spending hundreds of dollars every month on this, or the Starbucks or the coffees anywhere, any high end. It adds up. When you break this down per serving, it's very affordable.
It is, and a lot of times it's actually cheaper.
Cheaper, exactly.
And this is what I find, you don't need 3 of them to make it through the day.
100%.
And that's, people don't realize, they're like, oh, I got my Red Bull for breakfast, I got my Red Bull for lunch, I got my Red Bull for, my afternoon on my way home so I can survive the evening with my kids and not want to, murder them or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's, I don't know, I feel like people have such a misconception of the cost because they have to do it up front.
Exactly.
It's that upfront, oh, it's $79. Oh man, I can't afford that. Well, 3 times 3, that's $9 a day. Yeah. 9 times 30 is 200. So you're spending $270 a month on energy drinks. Even if you did 2 energized a day, that's 160. So you're still saving $110.
Absolutely.
And it supports your health. It supports your adrenal system. It gives you a mood boost. How many energy drinks can you get off the shelf that give you a mood boost?
100%, yeah. And let's fast forward that habit 20 years down the road. What other medications are you going to need to fix all the problems you're creating with this 3-a-day monsters?
Yes.
Or even 1-a-day monsters. The Celsius, whatever, pick your poison.
100%.
Yeah, so I mean, the consequences are coming. It's just a matter of, I don't know. It's a matter of, are you going to accept those or are you going to do something different? And I think one thing that's really hard too, and I'm not to dog on Louisiana, but it's even tougher in this culture because Louisiana is all about the food and the drink.
We are.
That when you think of New Orleans, let's take New Orleans, you think of the food and the drink.
100%.
And indulgence and partaking, right? Well, that's okay, I guess, every once in a while, but when that is your daily, which I feel like that's common around here.
Very.
The consequences are very visible. First off. And as far as all the statistics, we won't get into much of that, but there is a lot of statistical backing that shows that correlation, like neon lights on the side of the road.
Exactly.
It's there.
It is.
It's there. And so the culture of, live and let live, and let's just do this, and it's not hurting anybody, everybody else is doing it. That's that denial thing I was talking about earlier. We live in this denial fog. And sooner or later, we're going to have to face those consequences. And I know I sound like doomsday, but I don't want that for my friends. I don't want that for my family.
Exactly.
Because I know what comes. I've seen it.
We've seen it. Exactly.
And I want something better for them. And there's people in those assisted living classes that will tell you, I wish I had done something different. But you don't get a redo.
And I think it's just that attitude of, it's not that bad for you. It's not that, because what we
rationalize so much.
We do, and I think the problem too is that people don't realize that that 1 or 2 energy drinks, like, it's not that bad, but when you do it every single day for 10 years, that's where the issue is. You know, I live in Louisiana. I eat good.
Yeah.
But on the weekends, I'm a little more lax.
Yeah.
I go out to a nice meal. Yeah, I probably consume some seed oils. I don't like it.
Right.
But I'll do it every now and then because you have to live a little bit.
But it's not your norm. Right. You're not characterized by that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think if we spent more time just eating more whole foods, then when we did the social thing, when we went out with friends.
Absolutely.
Have a drink.
Absolutely.
Have that, fried chicken, fried catfish, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Yeah.
But when we're doing the fried foods in the seed oils, all the inflammation day in and day out, it adds up. And unfortunately, we pay that cost later on in life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to be a purist about this because you do have to live in moderation.
Exactly.
Living moderation is the key, I think, to everything.
100%.
But when those basic health habits are not established, you're on this far end of the spectrum, and that's, I think, what gets us into trouble.
Absolutely. And then before you know it, your health becomes something that is holding you back from living your life.
Yes.
From being able to go to Disney World and get on those rides with your grandkids, from you being able to, jump on a 36-hour flight across the world to experience another city you've never been able to because your health isn't where you need it to be, you can't guarantee you'll be okay doing stuff like that. And who wants to live like that?
100%.
You know, I think if people just were more aware that they can make the choices early to prolong their mobility, to increase their health, you know, that they'll have what they need to make better decisions.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I've heard it said you can have, you know, a million problems, but when you have a health problem, that's your only problem.
Exactly.
All those other problems go away.
Yep.
And that's very true.
It is.
That's very true.
Amen.
So, and back to what you were saying earlier about, you know, the energizing the focus and having more control and the impulsivity that goes along with ADHD, it made me think of lean also, because another thing that helps with that, as far as those sugar cravings, that's what I love about lean. So I'm the girl that will eat a salad all day long, but what really calls my name out is the ice cream. I don't know what it is about ice cream, but it's like every type of ice cream.
That's my wife. And I'm the chocolate guy. I love chocolate.
That's my mom.
Yeah.
But it screams my name. And I'll tell you this, and we all have our things that, you know, we have a proclivity or what's the word I'm thinking of? Inclination towards.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But I find that lean helps me with that sugar craving. So does it make me never want to have sweets again? No.
Unfortunately.
I know, right?
I wish it did.
Right. But
it definitely helps.
It does. What it does do, it makes me not as snacky. It makes me not as controlled by that impulsivity towards the sugar.
Yes.
I feel like I have the ability to walk away and say no easier.
For sure.
And it also helps me to eat, in general, healthier. Like I am naturally inclined to eat something that's better for me.
Right.
It kind of changes the way I think about food and my hunger signals. I don't know if you've noticed that.
For sure. You know, I mean, I think that's just how the main peptide in lean interacts with our bodies, you know, because it helps our body's natural GLP-1 stay around longer. It helps us feel full longer. It helps with our insulin sensitivity. So we don't feel that sugar drop in our blood as rapid. And so we're not, you know, I need sugar. I need my fit, you know, we're not looking for that as much. And so all that it correlates directly to not having such intense cravings, I think.
Agreed. It's like a biological need that translates into this, oh my God, where's the fastest sugar fix? Yeah, completely.
And it's really just a chemistry thing once you understand it. But unfortunately, as human beings, we like to eat with our emotions instead of realizing, wait, that's just my stress. Let me go pop a Calm instead, or let me go sit outside in nature, take a bunch of deep breaths and try to bring down my natural stress level. Yeah. We want to go shove the next, you know, ice cream bar or hyper processed food in our mouth, not realizing that we're really doing more damage than we are good.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, I was thinking too about what you'd shared about us getting fixated. And one of the things that happens too with ADHD is we get stuck. It's hard for us to transition to a new activity. Change is hard, right? Stopping one thing, starting another. It's just part of it. And I think one of the habits that kind of goes along with that is being intentional with your actions as well as, you know, the natural peptides. But like after a meal, going for a walk. You kind of mentioned that, going to a new location. It's taking our body to a new place, into a new scenario, into a new routine that helps us transition away from this focus on food. And I think when we couple that with the peptides, the results are really, really great.
100%. And actually, the whole walking thing, people don't realize too, is when you exercise in any way, shape, or form, you know, even just as simple as walking after a meal, it actually directly regulates your glycemic spike, you know, your insulin spike, and how all of that, you know, happens within your body. So it's pretty
Yeah, and we go into movement mode and out of food nourishment mode.
Yeah.
You know, our body shifts its intention.
Exactly.
Really interesting. I love all the science. I know you do too, which is why we connected.
I know. I love the sciencey stuff. I love learning all the, you know, and we could sit here and talk about the exact way that the enzyme DPP4 interacts with GLP-1 in the blood and why lean is so amazing. But you know, it's maybe a topic for a slightly more nerdy session that we do.
We need to do one though.
For sure.
You know that anybody who wants to ask us these questions, we could totally do a phone call nerd out. I would love that. Please,
if
please
anybody
do.
has questions about any of the science stuff, come at us because we both love doing that. So.
We enjoy the research of
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
That is one of the things I've loved about this company. And, you know, Sean's another guy that
I love Sean.
I know I've become good friends with, and he's just such a good guy. And he's like me. He loves to just dive in and get to that root of all the nerdy science stuff. And so it's good to have him on the team and people like that just enjoy doing that stuff like we do. So.
I agree. And I wanted to speak to that because actually, if we're going to get technical, you and I are on different teams.
Yes.
And so is Sean. And Sean's been in my home before and we've collaborated. Yeah. But what I love about this company is we are mission minded and our focus is just helping people. It's not, at the end of the day, it's not about making a buck. We talked about this earlier off camera that you and I both have careers and we are doing fine in our own worlds.
We don't do this for money.
No, absolutely not. We're not making 100% commission on everything. This is not how this works. But we are both mission minded in that we truly want to help people. Because this was an answer to prayer for me. I don't know how much you pray, but I literally prayed for an answer. Like Bible study, I was like every week, put me on the list again. I need my energy back.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's completely changed my life, just in terms of believing in myself again.
Yes.
You know, literally before I found this, I was at a really hard place in life. I felt like I was just like, I had nothing left. You know, I was fighting every day for my kids.
Yeah.
My family. Like that was it. Like I had no real path, no real, like, I didn't know what I wanted, you know, like what was calling me, what was my purpose in life, I guess is what I'm getting at, you know? And I just felt so hopeless, like truly. And I just feel like how I feel and to see so many people like you, like Ellie, like Christina, like Sean, like all the people on our team who are just here to help others and they just want to be abundant and inspire others for change and to take their health into their own hands and become healthier, and just seeing all that and having these people believe in me has helped me step into that role and believe in myself. And, you know, I to this day, like Ellie, and you know Ellie Coffee, huh?
I don't know her personally, but I've met her a few times. But I haven't had a sit down talk with her, which I would love to do.
She's amazing. And I can honestly tell you that I met her at Make One for the first time, and her just belief and encouragement to me, like absolutely changed my life. And she'll never know how much I tell her all the time. I'll send her messages and just thank her, because when you don't believe in yourself and you have someone who believes in you, it pushes you to want to be more.
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
So